What's up guys, and welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be doing an exciting project, and it's something that I've put off for far too long. As you can see behind me, we're back over in the compressor station. As you know, this is my Husky 80-gallon air compressor, and then this guy behind me, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it in any video, but it is a 120-gallon air compressor that I picked up at a estate sale a few years ago. I came up with a way to connect them together back then. That way I could use shared volume between the two tanks, and I have 200 gallons of compressible air for the shop. When I'm doing sandblasting or some heavy air use type tasks, 200 gallons, I know it sounds like a lot to most people, but it's not enough. It all comes down to the CFM, the cubic feet per minute, and these are both single phase, 5 horsepower pumps, putting out, shall we say, not enough CFM. When I first installed these compressors together, I thought it was going to be a temporary thing, and it was kind of a means to an end. And here we are some odd years later, and they're still connected in the same abysmal way. It's very restrictive of flow. I'm going to show you that whole setup now and what we got going on and how we're going to fix that. One of the major projects that I've always wanted to do in the shop was to get proper airline routing throughout it. And all of this together is going to help open us up to the continuation of improving the shop. So we got a bunch of new stuff coming out in the next coming weeks. I've got a week or two off of vacation right now, so I'm gonna take this time and do a whole bunch of stuff around the shop, and we're gonna see how much I can get done in what little time I have available to me. Enough of the intro roll, so we're gonna get busy with everything that we're going to accomplish and all the stuff that we're going to change, how bad it is right now, and how much better it's going to be in the future. So let's go, guys. All right, so just a general overview. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have our 120-gallon air compressor. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have our 80-gallon air compressor. On the wall, we have an open-faced hose reel, just a manual hose reel with a 100-foot hybrid hose. It's not a Flexzilla. It is indeed the Husky brand. Home Depot's right down the road, so don't judge me on all the Husky branded stuff. All that is plumbed straight into our refrigerated air dryer. I got that from Harbor Freight. We talked about it before. You've probably seen it in some other videos. That stuff works great. However, the issue is with the whole contraption together and how it is plumbed. And that's exactly what we're going to be fixing in today's project. So just looking at our current setup, what we have coming out of the tank is a 3/4 inch galvanized pipe leading to a 3/4 inch T. It goes into a reducer bushing. 3/4 inch takes it down to 1/2 inch, and then we tee off into 2 separate directions. One direction has some more 1/2 inch fittings to a ball valve. Going the other direction, we can see a reducer bushing here. This leads everything down to 3/8, and we have our gauge right here. We have another ball valve and another T with a cap on the end of it, leading to our quick disconnect over here. As you can see, it just comes up, T's over. This is our pressure controller. This gray box right here is our pressure controller with our electrical lines running to our motor down here. We have our quick disconnect. We have our gauge, ball valve for our 1/4 inch hose line over there. We have a ball valve right here that leads to an open union that's not connected to anything, and I'm not going to connect it this way because we're upsizing everything, so no longer needing the 1/2 inch stuff. But again, as you can see, there's that reducer bushing right there. Turns everything down, and then we further restrict it going out that way with our 1/4 inch MPT quick connect fitting to our rubber hose. That rubber hose goes all the way down the ground in a bottom looping fashion, which is not desirable because the water collects in the bottom of the hose as soon as it leaves the tank. There's nowhere to drain it at that level. Looking at what we've got here on the Husky output side of things, it's just as bad as the 120-gallon tank in that we have a 3/4 inch outlet going to a bushing, which immediately restricts it down to 1/2 inch to connect our 1/2 inch ball valve. We then further restrict it by using a 1/2 inch street elbow, which has male threads on this side of the elbow and female threads on this side of the elbow. The male threads screw into the ball valve here, and then we have another bushing, reducer bushing, which allows us to thread in a just regular male sided quick disconnect fitting for our hose to route back behind everything and over up into our 3/8 T. Again, having the hose routed this way allows water to collect in the bottom of the hose, not desirable.
We come up here, we go to our black iron pipe, and then we go to a nipple. These are all 3/8 inch fittings. This is just a regular off-the-shelf Husky 3/8 inch regulator. And then it goes over to another nipple between those two fittings into our first water collection and filter. It's just a 5 micron filter and has the just regular water drain bowl. Given its close proximity to the air compressors, I think these hoses are less than 10 feet apiece. So ideally you want at least 25 feet from your air compressor outlet to your first condensation or water trap. Anything less and the air is not going to have time to actually cool down and condense into water droplet form, and the water drain bowl will be absolutely worthless. It's not going to collect anything. It's still going to be in hot vapor form, and it's going to go through your hoses. So if you're putting one of these or anything that looks like it and you're connecting it right at your tank, you're completely defeating the purpose of having it. So you need it at least 25 feet away, preferably 50. And all of this restrictive piping, 3/8 lines to 1/4 inch MPT fittings to back to 3/8 inch, and this is all black iron, which we'll go over in the future of why you do not want to use that whatsoever. Going up to this, it's just absolutely wasted time, effort, and money. If you think this is bad enough, we're not done. We leave there and we go to another reducer bushing to just a regular 1/4 inch MPT quick disconnect again, which further reduces flow, going to a red 3/8 inch air line, which feeds back behind the compressors into our refrigerated air dryer. This is the Harbor Freight refrigerated compressed air dryer unit. I bought this thing about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's been great. It is the next step up from buying just regular filter traps, desiccant air dryers, and things of that sort. This is the next step. But even though this thing is as advertised and does remove a ton of moisture, I've never had any issues with all the sandblasting and media blasting I've done to the cabinets, no clogged tips or anything like that. So in and of itself, this thing does the job it was designed to do. However, I can't leave good enough well alone, so we're going to be adding a whole lot more to this system to make it as professional and as efficient as possible. All of the connections that are inside the compressed air dryer itself are 1/2 inch. Now that led me to reason at the time that everything going into and around this whole setup should be 1/2 inch as well. Now for those of you wondering what this contraption may be right here, we've got obviously our inlet from our joined air compressors coming in right here. So this is just regular restrictive 1/4 inch quick coupling. If I'm not using this and I still want to use the air to the rest of the shop, but I don't necessarily want to run it through the compressed air dryer, what I can do is turn this ball valve off, turn this ball valve off, and then open up the bypass. However, we've still got a very restricted quick coupling going into a 1/2 inch T, leading over to a union, to a 1/2 inch ball valve, to another union, so all this can come together. And then we got 1/2 inch out to a 3/8. This 3/8 is feeding the hose reel, and then this one is just plumbed straight into the top side of the T. I've never been real happy with this setup, and the more and more I've studied, the more and more I've realized how terrible this all is. Now, as with anything on the internet, one of the things you're probably going to run into is what material to use. There's everything from PEX to copper to black iron pipe to PVC, and then everything in between. One reason you don't want to use black pipe is because it does rust and corrode. What you see here on the outside is just from a couple years worth of use. After it's come out of the refrigerated air dryer, that air is much colder than what came in it, and that's why you can see this rusting. It's like a cold glass of sweet tea on a hot summer day. It just attracts moisture to this coupling here. We're going to open it up on the inside and figure out if there's any rust or corrosion on the inside, but you can assuredly believe over time this will happen on the inside as well.
But if you like this video, click a thumbs up, enjoy, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.